way. In an industry where we're being looked at for greenhouse gas production and water use, this is the way to go. One of my good friends was a consulting nutritionist before he took a job with one really big feedlot company, and he was feeding about 1.5 million head of cattle in the United States, and he was using program gain strategies on every head of cattle that he was feeding because it pays. And so when you looked at the carcass, those that were a little restricted, there was no difference. In ribeye area, there was no significant difference in carcass weight. There was a significant decrease in back fat. The yield grades were 2.5 versus 3, and the percentage of moist did not differ. Now, there have been a lot of other studies by using this, but the reality of it is we have the technology available to have cattle gain where we want them and to step up feed intake, and it works really well. So, I just throw this in here because everything that we have been talking about for the last 4 weeks is all involved in here. You've been exposed to all of this. It's a really complex system, is what I want to tell you. I'm trying to make it as simple as I know how. Maybe I'm failing a little bit on that, but it's still a really complex system. We want a stable room and pH. We want a healthy gut. We want to optimize digestibility. Well, if we are going to feed, many of us are still going to feed roughages. So I'm going to cut to the chase on this. Roughage does provide saliva. It increases buffering capacity. If you are going to feed roughage in a feedlot situation, ideally it would be 1.6 inches or less. I don't want 4 and 5 inch long forage in a feedlot situation. I feed a lot of cattle chopped straw because there are several researchers that looked at NDF concentration in finishing diets. And the reality of it is, I want to have forage that has as much NDF as possible. And this study was done with steam flake corn diets, but they looked at chopped alfalfa hay, which is 40% NDF, chopped Sudan hay, 66%, wheat straw, 80%, cottonseed hulls at 86%. Those were fed either 5, 10, or 15%. As the NDF concentration in the diet increased, net energy per gain increased. Net energy per gain intake was greater when diets contained cottonseed hulls versus alfalfa, with Sudan hay and wheat straw being intermediate, and they concluded that the effective roughage source on NEG is a direct result of the NDF concentration of the roughage, and at a constant NDF level, wheat straw is superior to alfalfa. So are cottonseed hulls. What am I saying here? Feed the least digestible fiber you can. If it's twice the NDF concentration, you only need half as much. So if I can feed most of the diets that I formulate for finishing diets are 6% wheat straw or barley straw, chopped really small. I'm feeding a lot of these up in South Dakota and Nebraska, yes.
Okay, this is a crazy question, but you know, you talked about that thing that you put your hay in to chop it up into little pieces.
Yep.
But, you know, we don't have the money to buy that. Would it be feasible to take a lawnmower and run over, unroll your hay and run over it with a lawnmower?
Put them in my pasture.
I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, if you're feeding 5 head of cattle, probably it would work. What I'd rather see you do is spend the money to go buy one of those little limb trimmers, gas powered, shoot it through that. We have used
what you would know
used-
compost with.
So, yeah, basically.
See, that's what I said.
We've used that. We have used those tree, like the big chippers for trees with round bales fed in through a conveyor